Hi, I'm Leslie. Welcome to the channel. Today I'm going to share with you this sketchbook spread I did of some crows using my AquaDrop watercolor inks, a combination of them along with some watercolor. And then I finished it off with a touch of white gouache for some highlights and some little line details with my ink pen. So let's have some fun and get started. There's probably not too much to narrate here. I'm just putting down some water so that I get some nice spread, and then I'm going to use my watercolors to start by just getting a very abstract background using some of the same colors I'm going to use in the ink, and then adding some complementary color as well. During most of the painting, I'm going to speed up the video just for ease of watching. But I will slow it down to emphasize a few points, and I'll mention those as we go. So I'm going to add some music. Enjoy the painting. So I'm going to prop it up and let it dry and let some of that watercolor run off before I get going here on the next phase. So these now are the inks, watercolor inks called AquaDrops, and I'm using 3 of them, black, blue, and a purple. For this first part, I'm just going to go in really lightly and try to give each of the birds a little bit of dimension, and I'm going to vary the inks as I go so that I get those beautiful blends reminiscent of watercolor. And this is where the sketchbook is really fun because you can just explore without expectations and go crazy and have some fun. can see here, I'm going in with the really dark black to try to emphasize the corners around things. Where does the bird bend? Where should my deepest shadows be? And even though it'll dry lighter, it gives me kind of a clue when I go back to add the final details as to, oh yes, we have stronger blends here. Let's go ahead and add a deeper color. Watercolor inks behave much like watercolor, where you can go in and layer as much as you want. I do feel like they tend to be a little more brilliant in color, although they still do dry a lot lighter than you anticipate. And they don't lift off as easily as watercolor. So those are the nuances between the two, but you still get beautiful blends and you have a wider range of colors. You can still mix. So they're quite fun to try out. Okay, for this next part, I'm going to use a smaller brush and just the black ink. And I'm going to go in at real time now, because I think it's important for you to see how deliberate I am with my strokes. I'm choosing where, sorry, you can't see very well with my arm in the way, but I'm choosing where to press down on the brush so I get a wider stroke, very much like calligraphy. And again, that's going to add contouring to our bird. And you can see how much more brilliant that black looks as a second layer on top. It's not watered down at all. It's pretty much just straight black. So it's a little bit of a different line, not like a pen, but again, more like calligraphy, where you can get the fat and the thin. And I think that makes a very nice painterly effect here. So I love the combination. I'm also getting some nice dry brushing when the ink starts to wear off, and I love that effect as well. So I'm quite pleased with how this layer is going on, and I wanted you to see it in real time. Take note here of how I'm holding my brush. Sometimes I'm very close to the tip, more like a pencil. This choice depends on how much control you're looking to get. I also often change my angle of attack. go ahead and speed up the video again now that I'm done with most of those strokes, but I did want you to see how deliberate I was during that phase. Now what I'm doing is I'm just evaluating, where do I need more excitement? Where do I need better blends? What did I miss the first time? What's changed since it dried? And I'll just add those finishing touches with the ink before moving on. Now I want to add a little bit of white gouache, so I'm just going to use it straight out of the tube. And I'm just going to pick a few areas, very few, where I want to add just a pop of a highlight. Only two of the three, or only one of the three birds actually has the eye showing. The other one, the angles are kind of off, so I don't have to worry about those highlights. However, I did want to pick up some of the light hitting the crows because they have such beautiful feathers, and the combination of the purple, blue, and black, I wanted them to feel very iridescent in the light. So here I'm just choosing a few areas to make that pop, and I'm really loving the way that it feels painterly because it's more opaque and it's less about the blending and more about just some nice brush marks. The next step, I'm just adding a little more of the raw sienna light watercolor because I felt like I needed that little pop in the background that I wasn't really getting. So I just added that, and then I wanted to add just a few, not many, strokes with my pen. And here I'm being very selective. So I'll just sign and date for my sketchbook, so when I look back I can remember where I was in my learning and exploration. I hope you enjoyed seeing the sketchbook work. Please let me know in the comments if you like seeing this ink and watercolor combination. And if you enjoyed this video, please consider giving me a like. Thanks again.